Buenos noches. Welcome to the 2021 Equal Justice Awards ceremony and reception. My name is Adam Acosta, and I have the honor to serve as president of the Hispanic Bar Association of the District of Columbia. A warm welcome to everybody who has joined us in person and online this evening. Tonight's event is an opportunity to honor 4 outstanding individuals in an organization that have made contributions to the Hispanic community in the areas of equality, fairness, social justice, and who have an unwavering commitment to public service. We will also introduce you to the HBA-DC Foundation's Law Student Scholarship recipients, and we will close the program with remarks from one of the most influential Hispanic leaders in the country, David Lopez, a professor, a former dean of Rutgers Law School, and a former general counsel of the EEOC. I hope that this evening will provide inspiration to each of you as we honor many outstanding accomplishments. I will now turn it over to Shirley Diaz, Vice President of External Affairs, to introduce you to the sponsors this evening.
Good evening. Tonight's event would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. Their generous support helps provide for scholarships, fellowships, diversity initiatives, mentorship, professional development, and much of HBA-DC's other important programming throughout the year. I'd like to begin with a special recognition to Covington and Burling, our platinum sponsor this evening, as well as Lowenstein Sandler and Reed Smith, our diamond sponsors. Our ruby sponsors are Mark Bohe Consulting, DLA Piper, and White & Case. Our gold sponsors are Allen and Overy, Arnold and Porter, Kaplan and Drysdale, Kroll and Mooring, Debevoise and Clinton, Jams, Kellogg Hansen, Outen and Golden, Paul Weiss, Sidley Austin, Wiley Rhine, Wilmer Hale, and Venable. Our silver sponsors this evening are Aiken Gump, Alex Partners, AT&T, Blank Rome, Clifford Chance, Edgar Class, Innovative Discovery, K&L Gates, Kirkland and Ellis, Micron Semiconductor Asia, and Zeichner, Ellman and Krauss. Our bronze and patron sponsors are listed in the program book. A special thanks to everyone for their support this evening. At this time, please welcome Julie Condi Medina, Secretary of HBA-DC, to present our Rising Star Award.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to present the Rising Star Award this evening. The Rising Star Awards recognize attorneys with 10 years or less legal experience and outstanding contributions to the legal profession, including Hispanic affinity bar associations. This year, I'm pleased to announce Alejandra Avila as a Rising Star recipient. Alejandra Avila is an associate at Kellogg, Hansen, Todd, Fickle, and Frederick, PLLC, where she has a diverse litigation background and represents both plaintiffs and defendants at trial and on appeal. Prior to joining Kellogg Hansen, Alejandra served as a law clerk to the Honorable Mary H. Burgia on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit and the Honorable Micaela Alvarez on the United States District Court for the Southern District of Texas. As the 2015 Fried Frank Civil Rights Fellowship recipient, she spent 2 years working as a litigator at Fried Frank in New York City. Alejandra then worked for 2 years as a staff attorney with the Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund, working on a variety of high-profile cases, including Texas versus United States, Martinez versus New Mexico, and Garibay versus Whitley. Alejandra holds a JD from the University of Texas School of Law and a BBA from Texas A&M International University. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Avila as she provides a few remarks.
Good evening. Thank you to the Hispanic Bar Association of DC for this incredible recognition. It is not an understatement to say that I would not be here today were it not for the contributions of other members of this bar. I owe this award to great mentors of mine like Celina Moreno, Marisa Bono, and Nina Perales, who very early on in my career gave me great responsibility even when I lacked experience. I chose to become a lawyer because I wanted to be an advocate for people. At a time when our community is so underrepresented in the legal profession, it is our duty to be advocates for not just our clients, but also other members of this bar. So I would like to use this space to encourage young lawyers to seek opportunities, but also to urge experienced attorneys to create them. And I want to thank the Hispanic Bar Association of DC for opening doors for me that otherwise would have been closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandra. We are excited to recognize you as this year's Rising Star. Next, let's hear it from Ruben Reina, immediate past president of HBA-DC, as he will present the Hispanic Attorney of the Year Award for 2021.
In 2019, HBA-DC created the Hispanic Attorney of the Year Award to recognize the achievements of an attorney with at least 10 years experience that has made significant contributions to the Hispanic community and exemplifies the mission and values of HBA-DC. Our third ever Hispanic Attorney of the Year Award is presented to Jan Singelman. Jan Singelman has dedicated his career to protecting consumers and ensuring a fair and competitive marketplace for financial services. He was recently appointed to serve as the Chief of Staff at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or the CFPB, his second stint with the agency. From 2013 to 2019, Jan was an enforcement attorney at the CFPB, where he brought public enforcement actions against financial institutions for violations of federal law that resulted in more than $100 million in civil penalties and $180 million returned to harm consumers. Jan has also been an active member of the Congressional Hispanic Staff Association, HBA-DC, HNBA, and has worked with the Maria Sempertegui First Gen Future Men Leadership Program to teach young men the skills necessary to become first-generation college graduates. Jan holds a BA in political science from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and a JD from Georgetown University Law Center. He is also a recipient of the Truman Scholarship. Jan has prepared a few remarks for us this evening. Please join me in welcoming Jan Singelman, Hispanic Attorney of the Year.
Good evening. I'm humbled and honored to have been selected as the Hispanic Bar Association of DC's Attorney of the Year. I'd like to thank my family, Erica, Damian, and Nadia, for their love, patience, and support. I also need to thank Juan Sempertegui, a good friend and mentor to me, as he has been to so many other members of our HBA-DC community. Finally, I need to recognize two people who've had the most influence in my decision to pursue a career in public service. My mother, Maria Elena Singelman, taught in public schools for more than 25 years. From her, I learned how to stand up for myself, and more importantly, how to stand up for other people. My aunt, Dolores Silva Smith, is the first attorney in our family. I followed her path to Georgetown Law and then into a career in government service. I know I wouldn't be here without them. Again, thank you for this honor.
Jan, felicidades and congratulations again on this extraordinary accomplishment. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome HBA-DC board member, Catherine Cohn, who will present our Hugh A. Johnson Jr. Memorial Awards.
The Hugh A. Johnson Jr. Memorial Awards recognize an individual and an organization that have an unwavering commitment to the principles of equality, cultural respect, and social justice. Our 2021 Hugh A. Johnson Jr. Award for an individual is presented to Sandra Chavez Balou. Sandra is an Assistant Chief Counsel at the Treasury Department's Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, or TTB for short. She joined TTB's Office of the Chief Counsel in March 2003. Since December 2010, her responsibilities have included providing legal advice to TTB and Treasury officials regarding labeling and advertising, international trade, and tax and regulatory matters involving alcohol beverages, as well as legal advice involving TTB's authority with respect to tobacco. She also provides technical advice on alcohol law issues to the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative during international trade negotiations. Sandra has served within TTB's Office of the Chief Counsel as Senior Counsel for General Law and Ethics and as Senior Counsel for International. Sandra has further demonstrated an exceptional commitment to furthering equality and social justice in the legal community through her longtime work with Hispanic law students in the DC area. She has chaired HBA-DC's Student Affairs Committee for many years and is literally responsible for providing hundreds of law students with mentors and other programming and resources to enable our next generation of Hispanic lawyers to excel. It is my personal pleasure to congratulate Sandra on this well-deserved award. Please join me in extending your congratulations to Sandra.
Hello. Thank you so much for this award. It really means a lot to me. And it was especially meaningful that I found out about it when I was visiting my mom. And she and I reminisced about how when I was a kid, I remember she and my dad, both of them, the only ones in their families to have gone to college, helping, both of them would help Hispanic kids in our community to research and apply for colleges. They would translate financial aid forms for them and, loan SAT books, all kinds of stuff. And so in a way, I'm carrying on that legacy by meeting with law students and getting to watch them decide what kind of field they want to go into and watching them go on interviews, get jobs, take the bar, start careers, and then become mentors themselves. It's been a fun journey, and I appreciate this award. Thanks.
Congratulations once again, Sandra. HBA-DC honors your achievements and commitment. Now, our Hugh A. Johnson Jr. Award for an organization will be presented by our Vice President of Membership, Daniel Trujillo Esmeral.
Good evening. This year's Hugh A. Johnson Jr. Award for an organization is presented to United for Social Justice. United for Social Justice is a 501c3 organization that enables undocumented and first-generation students to access higher education in the United States. In the past 12 years, they've helped over 540 students in their higher education journeys and have awarded 70 scholarships to students for college books. United for Social Justice also helps students by offering monthly workshops on the college application process, one-on-one mentoring by college students and professionals, scholarship opportunities, community service, and a network of support. United for Social Justice was founded 12 years ago by its executive director, Liana Montesinos, a Honduran asylee, activist, and immigration attorney who was undocumented and in removal proceedings when she attended university in the United States. Please join me in welcoming Liana as she provides a few remarks on behalf of United for Social Justice.
United for Social Justice was created in 2009 to help undocumented students make their dream of higher education a reality.
In the past 12 years, we have helped approximately 540 undocumented and first-generation students in their journeys to higher education.
We have awarded 70 scholarships for college books to our students.
We offer our students a year-long program where they benefit from
mentoring from professionals, workshops on the college application process, scholarship opportunities, network of support, and volunteering opportunities.
USJ recently started the Yo Soy Poder program in Spanish for recent arrivals and asylum-seeking students,
where we offer mentoring, a comunidad, and resources so they can start planning their college journey.
USJ is consistency, familia, safe space, and hermandad.
We are a community of people who believe higher education is a human right and who believe that our undocumented and first-generation students deserve better. Thank you for this award.
Congratulations again to United for Social Justice. USJ is truly a critical part of our community, and HBA-DC thanks United for Social Justice and Liana for all that they do. I now invite Maritza Perez, President-elect of HBA-DC, to introduce the Judge Ricardo M. Urbina Lifetime Achievement Award.
Good evening. The Ricardo M. Urbina Lifetime Achievement Award is a particularly special award. This award is named after the first Hispanic attorney to be appointed to the bench in the District of Columbia in April 1981. Judge Urbina's judicial tenure includes 31 years of distinguished service. He was initially appointed by President Reagan to the DC Superior Court and then by President Clinton to the federal bench. During his 13 years on the Superior Court, Judge Urbina garnered distinction for his handling of complex civil and criminal litigation. He managed one of the court's most demanding trial assignments, the complex civil litigation calendar, and later the court's family division. Judge Urbina then served 18 years as a United States District Court judge for the District of Columbia and issued over 1,000 full opinions. Throughout his career, Judge Urbina was a highly sought-after professor. He taught at Howard University School of Law for 7 years and served as an adjunct professor at George Washington University School of Law for 20 years, while holding the David Sizelon Chair for Trial Advocacy for 15 years. Although retired from the bench, Judge Urbina remains very active, including with judges' arbitration and mediation services. But more importantly, Judge Urbina has served and continues to serve as a valued friend and mentor to many HBA-DC members and is a staple of this organization. Tonight, the Ricardo M. Urbina Lifetime Achievement Award will be presented posthumous to Fernando J. Rivero. While Judge Urbina could not join us this evening, he provided us with the following remarks, which he asked us to share with you all this evening. Here they are. Good evening, President Acosta, members of the board, and other distinguished colleagues, friends, and partners at the bar. It gives me great pleasure to speak to you for a few minutes about the person whose memory we honor today, Fernando J. Rivero. The HBA-DC's board selection of Fernando for tonight's observance truly shows excellent sense and recognizes brilliance in his work and dedication to our community. We know that Fernando served us in a number of roles, all of which aimed at improving our professional and political potency. Known in the bar for his work ethic, his personal excellence, and dedication, he leaves behind a loving extension of himself as we approach life's challenges, particularly for our community through a message of fairness, equal protection, and social justice. Of the many activities and accomplishments of Fernando, I believe mentoring students and newer members of the bar was his favorite. The simple reason being is that he had a talent for understanding what the students or the fledgling lawyer did not understand, and the nuances of a particular topic, theory, or approach that needed resolution. But whatever the subject matter, he applied his magnificent intelligence, skills, talents, and experience, and all roads led to promoting notions of equal justice and fairness in service to the community. On a personal note, over the years, Fernando and I enjoyed a friendship that allowed him to speak freely. He once pulled me aside to tell me that he was feeling very stressed and overworked, and without the time or resources to do the work that he felt should be done. I could see in his face the stress is bearing down on him. No doubt we will all have that feeling, but for someone like Fernando, the impediment, which checked his ability to do the job the right way, was indeed exhausting him, but personified his dedication and commitment. I want to thank you all on Fernando's behalf for expressing the affection and admiration which you bring here this evening. Good evening. God bless. Thank you, Judge Urbina. The HBA-DC, of course, was deeply saddened to learn of Fernando's passing earlier this year. His life and legacy will certainly carry on tonight. We've invited two of Fernando's close colleagues who are past HBA-DC presidents to share a few words.
My name is Kenya Sewana Lopez. I was honored to join my fellow HBA-DC past presidents, Robert, Ignacia, Susie, Linda, Leila, and Bill, in nominating our beloved brother Fernando for this most prestigious award because he was a stellar lawyer, dedicated public servant, and a national and local leader who dedicated his life to promoting justice, equality, and mentoring the next generation. He was a pillar of the legal community and a force to be reckoned with. Fernando would have been thrilled, but also humbled to receive this award from HBA-DC, since it is named after Judge Ricardo Urbina, whom he admired greatly. Fernando had a work ethic and dedication matched by none. He had high professional and personal standards and expected the same from others. His style was direct, and he did not mince words. While some might not have agreed with his direct approach, there was never a doubt that his intentions were genuine and from his heart, and that the purpose was to make us better and professionals and people. Fernando loved HBA-DC and the HBA-DC Foundation, and he dedicated a significant amount of time, passion, energy, sweat, and tears to making sure that these organizations thrive and serve as a resource for the next generation. He was a visionary, unwavering, and compassionate. As a forward thinker, he was always looking for ways to bring our institutions to a higher level. Through his efforts, for example, we established the HBA-DC Judicial Council. This council was established to address issues of importance in to Latino members of the judiciary in the District of Columbia. Many of you have undoubtedly encountered Fernando at many of the HBA-DC events over the years. He never forgot what it felt like to be the new person in the room, and always made sure that everyone felt welcomed and not like an outsider. Personally, Fernando was instrumental in my career. Like many of you, I was new to DC and had the good fortune to encounter him at an HBA-DC event. At that time, I was a law clerk that was discouraged by the job prospects. Fernando immediately took me under his wing and told me about the Office of the Attorney General for the District of Columbia. He helped me with my job application, and due to his help and support, I landed an interview and got a job offer. At the Office of the Attorney General, he enlisted me to serve on the Diversity Committee so I could pay it forward. His mentorship and friendship meant the world to me. I owe my first legal job and so many things that came after to him. But my experience with Fernando was not unique. He was passionate about mentoring, and while some of us may mentor here and there, Fernando, just like everything he did, took it to another level. He had a constant flock of mentees. He was generous with his time and really was the best mentor anyone can have. For years, Fernando diligently worked his magic, trying to open doors for Latino attorneys in many workplaces that he could, or any workplace that he could reach. I believe there are many of us in this event tonight who owe him a debt of gratitude. Whether he was drafting resolutions calling on Congress to pass the DREAM Act, leading one of the most financially successful national conventions, or revising policies and procedures, Fernando's goal was to elevate the Latino community. Fernando was a strong believer that we need to share our personal stories because they empower others to believe that their own stories have a place in the room, in the legal community, in leadership roles, in society in general. Because of Fernando, we felt empowered to share our stories. Our community has a tremendous void in our hearts with the loss of Fernando. Simply put, Fernando was único, and we were blessed to have him in our lives. Let us commit ourselves tonight to be the Fernando in the room, to the newcomer, to the students, to the next generation, and to anyone who needs a hand. The best way to honor his memory is to share our stories and pick up where Fernando left off. We have some big, big shoes to fill. I wish to extend our deepest condolences to his family and to everyone who is mourning his loss. Thank you.
Fernando Rivero is singular. His dexterous and deep analytical mind, his work ethic, his attention to detail, his vast understanding of strategy and tactics and the difference thereof, and a moment to pause for the drama of it all, his passion. Attorney Fernando Rivero had passion for us, passion for the community. He had an intensity for accuracy. He insisted on transparency for all of us, even when we didn't want it. He had a righteous aggression about timeliness and excellence. And he had a passion for right over wrong, and Fernando was almost always right. Whether you like to hear it or not, what he was coming at you with, he was right. Well, whether he was crisply reminding us that version 7 of the bylaws had been replaced by version 8, or charging into the DC Council fighting for the rights of lawful non-citizens to be treated with respect and able to participate in our democracy, Fernando did nothing casually. Active in his community, supportive of his family, fighting for DC residents, Fernando did what all of us hope to do. He made a difference. He made a difference in the lives of all of us. Fernando told his alma mater, Miami High School students, "The work that I do changes lives, and I'm glad to be a part of that." Indeed, he changed the lives of thousands. He fought for us, for the community, for the immigrant, for the lawyers fighting for the community, for the LGBT community. Fernando fought for himself by fighting for us. Everywhere you turned, you saw and see his work. A tight organization that he helmed and served continues to thrive. An AG's office strong because of his work. Students improved by his achievement and work. Families moved by his words at Pasos, our annual celebration. Programs paid for by the money he raised. But most of all, of course, because we are who we are, we loved him and he loved us. Love is not a criteria for the Ricardo Urbino Lifetime Achievement Award, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
Thank you to Judge Urbina and past HBA-DC presidents Robert Rabin and Kenya Sion Lopez for your kind words. I know that Fernando has touched so many lives and his legacy will certainly live on. As many of you know, Fernando was instrumental in his support, not just of HBA-DC, but also for the HBA-DC Foundation and the scholarships that it awards. So perhaps it is only proper to now introduce this year's scholarship recipients. HBA-DC Foundation board member Paulina Vera will now announce the scholarships.
Good evening. My name is Paulina Vera, and I am a board member for both the HBA-DC Foundation and HBA-DC. It is my pleasure to announce this year's scholarship recipients. Our first scholarship recipient is Scarlett Montenegro, who is a third-year law student at American University, Washington College of Law. Our second recipient this year is Jessica Rivero, who is a third-year law student at Georgetown University Law Center. Our third scholarship recipient is Daniel Fishelman, who is a third-year law student at GW Law. Our fourth scholarship recipient is Tanya Suarez Marquez, who is a third-year law student at GW Law. And last but certainly not least, our fifth scholarship recipient this year is Dana Gibson, who is a fourth-year law student at GW Law. Each of these scholarship recipients have demonstrated commitment to the advancement of the Latino community and will each receive $5,000 towards their legal studies. You can read more about each scholarship recipient in your program.
Thank you, Paulina, and congratulations to the 5 outstanding scholarship recipients. As president of HBA-DC, I have the distinct honor tonight of introducing our keynote speaker, David Lopez. David Lopez is professor of law and the Professor Alfred Slocum Scholar at Rutgers Law School. From 2018 to 2021, David Lopez served as the Dean of Rutgers Law School, Newark campus. During this period, he testified in front of congressional committees on issues including AI and discrimination, Latinos in the entertainment industry, and on the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission conciliation rule. Prior to serving as dean, he was partner in charge of Odin and Golden, a plaintiff-side civil rights class action firm, leading the firm's Washington, D.C. office. And until December 2016, he served for 6 years as the general counsel of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Twice nominated to the general counsel position by President Barack Obama and confirmed by the United States Senate, He led the litigation program for the nation's primary administrative agency charged with enforcing federal employment anti-discrimination laws and oversaw 15 regional attorneys and a staff of more than 325 people. This included litigating high-impact litigation in federal courts nationwide, including the United States Supreme Court, addressing LGBTQ coverage under the anti-discrimination laws, vulnerable immigration communities, criminal background screens, disability rights, and religious freedom. In 2014, the National Law Journal named Mr. Lopez as one of America's 50 outstanding general counsel, and he has been called a Latino luminary by the magazine Diversity in the Bar. And in 2011, Hispanic Business named him to its list of 100 influentials in the Hispanic community. In short, we're very honored to have Mr. Lopez join us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming David Lopez.
Saludos! My name is David Lopez. It is a tremendous privilege to provide this keynote address for the Hispanic Bar Association of DC's annual Equal Justice Awards. I applaud HBA-DC for its ongoing celebration of excellence in the law and for honoring the stars in our community. Congratulations also to the award winners. I was blown away by your bios and inspired by your tremendous work. As a recent law school dean, let me also give a special shout out to the law students. I know this is a difficult time to be a law student. Law school is far too expensive, and the challenges facing the legal system are vast. Yet, it is also a period of great change, and it provides a real opportunity for those with courage, dedication, to rethink old paradigms and to develop new frontiers. I know I've been blown away by the strong sense of community, allyship, and commitment to social justice I see amongst our Rutgers Law School students, and from reading your bios, I trust you share these values. I also want to say a word or two about Fernando Rivero. I had the privilege of knowing, breaking bread, and having a drink or four with Fernando. I first met him as the president of HBA-DC when it hosted the HNBA National Convention here in Washington, D.C. a few years back. It was truly an amazing, well-organized event, and Fernando pushed it through with his energy and charisma. I did not know him real well, but as I mentioned, I had the occasion to hang out with him, and here's what I observed. Fernando owned every room he was in. His personality and his intelligence were a tremendous asset to our community. His love for this organization was immense. His legacy will be enduring. Now, I would love to be there in person and spend time with old friends. And I know I hinted to Maritza to maybe ask me to do this next year. As many of you know, I practiced in Washington, D.C. for many years. It is one of my adopted hometowns. I cut my teeth as a lawyer in D.C. and in many ways became an adult in D.C. Every neighborhood seems to be full of memories. As you hear this, however, I will be in the beautiful Mexican city of Oaxaca, hopefully having celebrated the Dia de los Muertos in el estilo oaxaqueño. I will then spend some time in Puerto Vallarta, where my mom created a home and where we said goodbye to her last year after she passed away. Now, tonight you find me in a unique posture for a keynote speaker. As you heard, I'm the former many things. I am the former dean of Rutgers Law School, the Newark campus. I'm the former partner in charge of the Washington, D.C. office of Outten and Golden. I am the former general counsel of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. I'm the former many things. What do I do now? I am currently a professor at Rutgers Law School in Newark, and I am on a one-year sabbatical. Last June, I stepped down as the dean, and by July, my wife Maria and my son Luis took a slow drive from the New York City area through the deep South, stopping at many of the major civil rights landmarks, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the Legacy Museum, in Montgomery, and we drove to Phoenix, where we had one of the world's longest college drop-offs and caught up with family and loved ones. Since that time, we have traveled other places and have much travel in mind. I've been writing and working on projects, but mostly catching up with friends. I asked my wife, Maria, for advice on what should a former this and that discuss as a keynote speaker. As general counsel and as dean, I would often speak 3 or 4 times a week, and I always had a message at hand. She advised me, be yourself, be in the present, and discuss what advice you would give to your younger self. Okay. Now, let me say a couple words about Rutgers and the EOC and Out in Golden. I love all the organizations. I really believe that Rutgers and the EOC share many characteristics. They both fight above their weight class. They both love to push boundaries. I'm very proud of my 6.5 years as general counsel and my many years as a career attorney at the EOC. I'm very proud of the work that we did pressing the argument that sexual orientation and gender identity are covered by Title VII at a time when there was profound skepticism at that argument. We were pushing that argument. And as we saw last year in the Supreme Court, our position was vindicated. I'm proud of the work that we did with vulnerable immigrant workers facing sexual harassment. I am proud of the work that we did in the Abercrombie and Fitch case and the tremendous victory in the Supreme Court. I am also very proud of my time with Rutgers Law School. As I left my deanship, I felt relief and sadness. Rutgers Law School, for me, was love at first sight. It was like Tony and Maria in that famous scene from West Side Story where their eyes meet across the dance floor. From the earliest moments in the Rutgers Newark leadership and community, I recognized core values of justice, opportunity, service, excellence, activism, and humility. The values that were instilled in me by my activist parents at a very early age, marching with Cesar Chavez on the farm worker picket lines, and many other struggles of the moment. I never expected growing up in Arizona that I'd spend most of my career in Washington, D.C., and I certainly didn't expect that I would end up in New Jersey. But almost immediately I felt welcome at Rutgers University and in our Newark home. Being a law school dean, especially at a public institution like Rutgers, is a great job, and it's a real privilege. It's like being the mayor of a small community, and the time I spent with my colleagues and with those wonderful students was incredible. I've spent much of my post-deanship, my sabbatical, on an oral history project, discussing the history of the school, memorializing former Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's 9 years on the Rutgers faculty, and demonstrating how the 1967 Newark Rebellion changed the law school and became a catalyst for this conflict of laws professor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, to use her fullest voice, to leverage her experience, and to move in new directions. My decision to step down was difficult, but I know it was correct. I must admit, the pandemic was very exhausting. We all know the pandemic is devoid of fun. But first remember that during the pandemic, many in our community lost loved ones, fell ill, suffered food insecurity, suffered housing insecurity and job loss. I know this has been a tough time for so many, but it has also been a period of time where there's been enormous resiliency and generosity brought out in the community. Like many of you, the pandemic was challenging professionally. Frankly, I found the pandemic disorienting and the virtual platforms the scourge of true communication and community. I know for some people it worked, but for me it was very difficult to be on meetings all day, on Zoom meetings all day, and not have the counterbalance, the energy, the countervailing energy of the students and the vibrant intellectual environment. I often felt like I was lumbering with my feet tied together. I'm so pleased that we are finding our way out of this period so we can reset, return to in-person gatherings like I know you guys are enjoying tonight. Enjoy our community, the hugs, the serendipity that comes with sharing space. In many ways, we have all become migrants moving into this new emerging world, this unknown world. But for me, the decision to step down was more personal. As I mentioned, I lost my mom last December. I had also lost my dad a year earlier. And after a poignant, heartbreaking memorial for my father in Phoenix with my extremely large family, I flew back to the East Coast and went straight back to work and jumped back on the hamster wheel, as they call it. I would often ask my wife if I had spent enough time grieving. And when the hurt came, as it often did, I would push it down and work harder. But when my mom passed last December, it resurrected the grief for both of them. My parents meant everything to me. They asked questions. They made me laugh. They provided love. They inspired. They fought the man. They encouraged unconventional thinking. They were movement people. I miss them immensely. And now I often think of the times I was too busy to chat because I had to address a problem at work or address a problem with one of my kids, or I was just too tired. I want to ask them both questions. I'm still not quite sure how they met. I never asked them. I blink my eyes and find that I am now part of the oldest generation. My kindly older sister, a fourth grade public school teacher, is now the oldest in a very, very large Arizona Latino family. We call her Doña Gina. And she says, I don't even know what a Doña does. And we tell her, a Doña bosses everyone around. A Doña has family dinners. I don't know. She says, but I don't want to be a Doña. You're the fancy smarty pants nerd lawyer. You should be in charge. And I tell her, I'm not the oldest. Plus I live in New Jersey. But I'd be happy to be the consigliere. Anyway, when my mom passed, she left me a chest full of poetry going back 40 years. We knew she wrote, but never saw it and did not know how much she wrote. 40 years and a manuscript talking about her spiritual journey. So I found myself with a choice. I could continue working 70 to 80 hours a week, as I have through most of my legal career, or I could go to Jalisco and read and reflect on my mom's poetry, and also, hopefully, be more present for my own family. Also, I remember this morning when I woke up in a really crabby mood. Like, why am I in a crabby mood? This time last year, I lost a friend to his own hands. He was a wonderful criminal lawyer and a truly good father and a truly good person. We were homies at Arizona State University. We hit the clubs together and talk about how we were going to law school and how we would be lawyers, with little idea what that really meant. We had lost touch except on social media. The last time I saw him 8 years ago, we were in federal court in Phoenix, the Sandra Day O'Connor federal court building, both of us in trial. His was a criminal case, mine a discrimination case. And I remember he told me he was tired and he wanted to move in a different direction. Look, one never knows what happened inside someone's heart. I don't. But here's what I want to say. As a community, and a country, we have challenges. The rule of law is wobbly, the immigration system is broken, and there's no reform in sight. Voter suppression has become a sadistic blood sport. Massive inequality threatens political stability, and our digital winner-take-all economy threatens to leave so many behind, and so many from the promise of living as well as the previous generation. Yes, our community needs hardworking, ethical lawyers to work on creative solutions to the challenges and give voice to the voiceless. We need Latina and Latina lawyers everywhere, in the C-suite, on Capitol Hill, in public defenders' offices, and prosecutors' offices, downtown, uptown, small towns, in the streets. We need to be everywhere, bringing our voice and courages to the challenges before us. But as lawyers and as human beings, we must take care of ourselves. We must practice self-care. We must practice wellness. We must practice balance. I say this not only because I love you, I say this because I love our community. Being an attorney is often incredibly stressful. Surely there are faster ways to get rich and easier ways to get rich. Litigators in particular know the stress of engaging over long hours in an adversarial system. As attorneys, as Latina, Latino, Latinx attorneys, the pressure on each of us to work twice as hard to get ahead, to navigate environments with few people who look like us is enormous. For those of us who litigate on behalf of los olvidados, the forgotten ones, those on the margins, who litigate to give voice, we face daily moments of grace, but also moments of pain and struggle. We fight desperately for the legal system to be fair and just. And many of us pay an extra tax. We are less likely, our community is less likely to have accumulated intergenerational wealth, but we're more likely to have family responsibilities, family caught up in a broken criminal justice system, family caught up in a broken immigration system, family caught up in a broken healthcare system. And this requires sustained effort, vigilance, love, and community. So yes, from my present to my younger self, don't forget self-care. And don't forget to get each other's backs as friends and as a loving community. Disconnect from your phones and reconnect old school style. Un abrazo, un toque, risas, sonrisas, community. Love yourself. Support each other. We need you. Blessings always to the Hispanic Bar Association of DC. Adelante.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for those insightful and inspiring remarks. And again, congratulations to all of our honorees tonight. I would like to take a moment to recognize HBA-DC's board members, the EJA committee, and all of our other committee members and volunteers throughout the year. Without you, we could not have accomplished all that we did this year. I am truly honored to work with such amazing lawyers who continue to move HBA-DC's mission forward. Also, in 2015, our board established a lifetime member category, and I am pleased to recognize our lifetime members who are listed in the program. And last but not least, thank you again to our sponsors this evening. Without your support, HBA-DC could not maintain its level of outreach and programming. We appreciate your generosity and look forward to continuing our partnership. And as we conclude this portion of the program, I welcome everyone to join us momentarily for some virtual networking if you're online, or to join us for drinks, dessert, and some music if you're with us in person. Thank you for joining us this evening, and felicidades to our awardees and scholarship recipients. Take care and good night.